piece right here is
You may know Corning baker Kira Van Winkle, winner of the 2023 Gingerbread Invitational and finalist for the
Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning. We have a busy morning, a lot to get to, as you can tell by the stack of papers. At any point, we already have a virtual wave. At any point, you can reach out and contact me right there at the number on the bottom of your screen. A couple of comments I received after yesterday's broadcast. Another one, look at that, racking up this morning. A few comments that I received yesterday after the program, and it's kind of interesting the difference, not difference of opinion necessarily, but I had mentioned right at the end of the program, that Ramaswamy was already out campaigning with Trump, attending rallies with him right after he dropped out of the race, right at the end of Iowa, dropped out of the race and instantly endorsed Donald Trump. In my opinion, the jury is still out as far as Ramaswamy is concerned. I think Trump's biggest fault may be his lack of judgment, and he appointed a lot of bad actors. I hope Vivek isn't one of them. I also know that he trusted the wrong people, didn't realize just how deep the swamp was, and he will not let that happen again. At least that's my hope. And there's a good point there, and it's been made by a lot of people in the past, that may have been one of the biggest problems that Trump had off the jump when he became president, that he realized there was a swamp, but maybe not how deep the swamp was. And some of the people that we've seen since that essentially turned on him, and we saw how many leaks and, during his administration. And so that's, I think, a good point. The next comment from a viewer: I'm glad Vivek is supporting Trump. He is a perfect addition to the fight against the psychological war that we are in with the government. So thank you for those comments. Keep them coming in. We have a lot of various stories that we're going to get to this morning that I think there's a lot of noteworthy and comment-worthy information to come out. We're going to talk about New Hampshire coming up. We'll talk a little bit about Nikki Haley, a little bit about Donald Trump. Not a lot here about Ron DeSantis, which is kind of interesting. We're also going to talk about Biden. I do have, to start off, I received an op-ed from the Buffalo News written by Congressman Nick Langworthy. And I received this in my email yesterday, and it said, Albany Democrats' war on natural gas could have deadly consequences. This is a really good opinion piece, or I guess op-ed, I should say, by the congressman. He says it's clear that we have a lot of work to do at the state and federal levels to establish winter weather reliability standards for our natural gas infrastructure. However, addressing the need for increased domestic energy production and pipelines would be one of the largest factors to increase supply and reliability. Unfortunately, the needs of the constituents in our state face an ideological wall held up by Democrats in Albany. And this is very similar to what we've talked about just recently with Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. I know we're all getting our heating bill, so this is top of the mind right now. But we talk about the switch to electric. And boy, it's really troubling when you hear that it really is virtue signaling from Albany without anything to back it up, meaning that the grid is not prepared if we were to make this switch. And we talked about it with the Assemblyman in depth, that it's troubling because when you see how cold it's been these last few days, and you see the storm, which Winter Storm Elliott that the congressman mentions in this, and then you see what they're dealing with in Buffalo. If you were to talk about losing power and no way to heat, and I know I've said this a million times, but it's not going to the extreme to say there will be loss of life. But I want to continue with what the congressman said before we run too late this morning. Hochul has been vocal. I like that. Hochul has been vocal about where she stands and has implemented the policies to prove it. She would rather appease the radical environmentalists of New York City than ensure New Yorkers access to safe, dependable natural gas. The governor and state assembly have already instituted an unconstitutional ban on natural gas hookups in new construction, perpetrated an all-out fracking ban, and set unrealistic standards to push our state-cut emissions to zero, though we only count, and this is what the assemblyman highlighted, though we only account for 0.4% of global emissions. We have ample opportunity to not only prevent future tragedies, but also put our state at the forefront of natural gas production. The southern tier sits on the Marcellus Shale, one of the largest sources of untapped natural gas. For political reasons, former Governor Andrew Cuomo banned fracking, while our neighbors in Pennsylvania are safely extracting this resource while transforming their local economy and pulling those communities out of poverty. We all saw it. We all witnessed it in real time. Reversing this ban and the subsequent infrastructure that would follow would increase winter storm readiness significantly. So I'm proud to lead a letter to Governor Hochul urging her to address the concerns outlined in the NERC report and to work with us to implement their recommendations. This letter was signed, I want to mention this as well, was signed on by House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik, who will be coming up later in the show, meaning a story about her that I think you're going to find very interesting, and Representatives Anthony D'Esposito, Mike Lawler, Nicole Malatakis, Mark Molinaro, Claudia Tenney, and Brandon Williams. We have an opportunity to secure the well-being of our constituents by taking decisive actions to fortify our energy infrastructure. Winter Storm Elliott laid bare the vulnerabilities in our natural gas supply and the consequences of political ideologies trumping practical solutions. The safety and resilience of New Yorkers should always be our top priority, transcending party lines and personal agendas. So I thought that was a really good piece. I did skip over a little bit just for time. You can find it at the Buffalo News, but that was by Congressman Nick Langworthy. When we come back, we're going to talk about some federal issues, so stay with us. Oh, and some, obviously, election issues as we near New Hampshire. I also wanted to highlight, coming up in just a little bit, we're going to hear from Big Fox News at 10's Sonia Ellison. She's going to be, she provided me with a packet that she put together about a really neat competition going on in our area with one local resident that I think you're going to really enjoy, and I wanted to highlight it. So we're going to play that a little bit later on. And I also wanted to highlight that it's just you and me today. But on tomorrow's program, we're going to be talking with Jeff Plate. You may know him from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So he's going to join us in studio. So make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with a Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's Hot Tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
Broadcasting from the beautiful Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I'm your host, Frank Acom. You are watching Frankly Speaking. Thank you so much for joining us. I am running late already because I wanted to bring that important op-ed, but also the comments from viewers yesterday. But quickly, listen to this. How often have we been told that, especially in New York State, if we could just tax the wealthy more, our problems would be over, we'd be out of debt? Well, at the federal level, the combined net worth of the most prominent billionaires in the United States would not be enough to pay a single year's interest payment on America's ballooning national debt, which, by the way, currently stands at an astonishing $34 trillion. I'm going to dive into this a little more. I do already have to take a second break because I don't want to run too late. But we're going to dive into this and then tie it in with a story that you may have heard of. We wanted to bring it up on this program. I may have snuck it in at the end of a broadcast last week. But one of the squad lawmakers, the gentleman who pulled the fire alarm, Jamil Bowman, he has an idea, a creative way that I think you're going to find very interesting to pay for his suggestion, which is $14 trillion in reparations. So we'll tie these two together when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking.
Looks like y'all got a lot of stuff here in your water.
You're never gonna believe it, but this can filter up to 60 different contaminants from your water.
It's all about cleaner drinking water.
Dude, that's good water.
And that's good water.
Now that's good water.
That's good water, eh?
No matter where you live, there's a Culligan water expert nearby. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one get one free offer goes away.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, broadcasting from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street. We're going to hear from Sonia Ellison. She is from Big Fox News at 10 in just a little bit. She had put together a package that I think you're going to enjoy. But as I mentioned, if you took the combined net worth of some of America's most prominent billionaires, you as a federal government, they stole these people's net worth, took all their money. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Ken Griffin, Mark Cuban, Ray Dalio, and George Soros. It adds up to approximately $726 billion, not chump change. But the net interest on our national debt is currently at $730.8 billion, dwarfing the sum for previous years. So, again, the nation's most prominent billionaires, if you took all of their money, wouldn't cover a single year's interest payment on our national debt of $34 trillion. But then you see ideas like this coming from a New York lawmaker, again, a member of the squad, maybe best known for pulling the fire alarm during that floor debate, Jamil Bowman. He wants the federal government to be held accountable for slavery and the aftermath of it. And this came out late last week, I believe. What he wants is $14 trillion in reparations. So they say, how can you pay for it? We just mentioned our debt. He said, when COVID was destroying us, we invested in the American people in a way that kept the economy afloat. The government can invest the same way in reparations without raising taxes on anyone. He then asked rhetorically, where did the money come from? We spent it into existence. That is a creative way to pay for his plan of $14 trillion, not billion, $14 trillion in reparations. Bowman is among 9 sponsors of this bill, H.R. 414, which seeks to establish that the U.S. has, quote, a moral and legal obligation to provide reparations for the enslavement of Africans and its lasting harm on the lives of millions of black people in the United States. The measure, introduced in 2023, would prompt the federal government to spend $14 trillion on reparations programs that would support the descendants of enslaved black people and people of African descent. Blacks make up 12% of the population in the U.S., according to census figures. That piece coming from Fox News. So I guess we spend it into existence, and then we will not need to raise anybody's taxes. He said, who says the $14 trillion needs to be paid out in one shot? It might be possible for it to be paid out 5, 10, 20 years. We could take the $330,000 and break it up monthly into checks over X amount of time. There are creative ways to do the right thing and do what needs to be done. The bill cites scholars' estimates that the U.S. benefited from over 222 trillion hours of forced labor between 1619 and the end of slavery in 1865, which would be valued at, I think that's $97 trillion today. There are 246 years of free labor that produce trillions or hundreds of trillions of dollars for the U.S. economy. The economy wouldn't exist in the way it does today if slavery hadn't built it. Now, the bill does not have any sponsors in the Senate. All right, wanted to give you that update. We've got to take another short break, do we? Yes, I want to take another short break because when we come back, we are going to hear from Sonia Ellison from Big Fox News at 10. I think you're really going to enjoy the package she put together yesterday. As I mentioned, tomorrow on the program, from the band The Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Jeff Plate will be joining us. That'll be right around 7:10, 7:15 on tomorrow's broadcast. As always, you can reach out to me. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. Weigh in on this. Weigh in on any of the topics that we've discussed. I do have, I have 1 minute because once we hear from Sonia, we're going to get into the presidential election and the primary. Cindy Adams at the New York Post has a piece out today, and I'd just like to pick your brain on it. I actually mentioned it. I was a little ahead of the curve on it before Cindy Adams wrote this piece. I talked about it with Joe Semplinsky, former congressman, just the other day. But Cindy Adams says, don't be shocked if Michelle Obama sneaks her way in to the 2024 race. Now, Cindy Adams sometimes has a very unique style of writing. So it's kind of a little tough to follow in the sense of it's not a news piece, it's a gossip piece. But she said, we've heard this drumbeat for a while, now it's louder. Plans are to grab Michelle for the Democrat presidency choice. Okay, making the music is Barack, the orchestra leader. Michelle says she's terrified Trump will win. It was programmed. She sent a survey to Democrat biggies asking their feelings about her candidacy. Now, it could just be gossip, but do you think that could happen? I mean, it's not, if Biden doesn't run, which I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's running, and there's no reason to believe other. But could it be Michelle Obama that pushes Kamala Harris to the side? I don't know. That more of a mental health game, something to think about. I don't know. It would be a shocker in the sense of it would upend the race completely. So will Michelle Obama run? And former Congressman Joe Semplinsky had a great point. It's easy to name people like Michelle Obama. A lot of times you'll hear Oprah at one point. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's name was being thrown around because they have no record to run on. And Trump benefited from that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But that's one of the reasons why these people are so fashionable and so popular to speculate if they'll run. Because it's easy to say, well, there's no record to run on, so no real negativity there. So anyway, I want to throw that at you. But when we come back, we're going to hear from Sonia. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
It's time to stock up on your favorite New York wines at GCP Discount Liquors and Wines in Horseheads. GCP Discount Liquors and Wines has the largest selection of Finger Lakes wines in the Southern Tier, all under one roof. Whether you're looking for Lakewood, Wagner, Wise, or Haslett 1852 Vineyards, GCP Discount Liquors and Wines is your convenient one-stop shop for these great wineries and more, all at the area's lowest prices. Shop GCP Discount Liquors and Wines in Horseheads, the best in service, selection, and price.
Race drivers change lanes very fast, but with no outside mirrors. How come they don't crash? Introducing Angel View, the new wide-angle mirror that reduces blind spots. Angel View simply snaps over your car's rear view mirror, giving you a 160-degree view behind you. Ordinary rear view mirrors are small and flat, but Angel View has a huge mirror with curved glass. This convex shape allows you to see both blind spots with one glance. And with our Pro Edition special coating, it's anti-glare at night. Get your Angel View now for just $19.99 through this special offer. But wait, this may be your last chance to get Angel View at this low price. There is a strict limit of 2 Angel Views per order while supplies last. Order now.
Call 1-800-869-5346. That's 1-800-869-5346. Or visit getangelview.com. So call 1-800-869-5346 now.
Something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
7 and 7:30 on Big Fox.
It's a season of sharing.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal. I tend to get crazy. At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
A beautiful morning here on Market Street in Corning as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Acom. I just received a very nice voicemail. Thank you for that. I'm glad that you enjoy the program. That's very kind of you. Okay, Sonia Ellison, she is our multimedia journalist. You may hear them called MMJ. She is our MMJ on Big Fox News at 10. If you haven't caught Big Fox News at 10, I would highly recommend it. She put together this package of local interest that I really enjoyed, so I wanted to play it for you. It's quick, but when we come back from that, we'll be talking about national news and presidential news, but I thought you'd enjoy this.
You may know Corning baker Kira Van Winkle, winner of the 2023 Gingerbread Invitational and finalist for the Greatest Baker Contest.
The reason I wanted to start my bakery is to be able to support my family, stay home with my daughters.
Since 2021, Kira has been running her business, Kira's Cupcakery, through her Corning home as a way to practice her passion for baking while providing for her family as a stay-at-home mom. She's in the top 5 for the Greatest Baker Contest Cake Boss star Buddy Balastro helped create.
He makes some amazing cakes.
Is she on Cake Boss right now?
If Kira makes it to the semifinals, she will be in the running for a chance to win $10,000 and meet Buddy for a workshop.
I loved it so much. I tried to attempt all the things that he tries to do in his show.
Her faith is another big baking inspiration.
Be able to glorify God through my bakery and to use the talent that he gave me for it.
If she wins, Kira will use the $10,000 to help her church and family.
What I would use the $10,000 for is towards the missionaries that our church supports. It would help with their mortgage payments and possibly go on vacation.
Corning is supportive.
Wow. And that's what gets us more on the map.
You can vote once every 24 hours free or cast 5 to 250 votes at a time through a donation.
It's a fundraiser that goes towards children that are dealing with pediatric cancer.
Yeah, I will vote for her because I like cake.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Voting for the quarterfinals ends Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Then voting for the semifinals begins and a final winner is announced February 9th. Sonia Ellison, Big Fox News, Corning.
Isn't that cake beautiful? We're going to have that for lunch. I was just looking at it in the refrigerator. So I thought you would enjoy that. And thank you to Sonia for providing that for the program. You can catch Sonia on Big Fox News at 10. Okay, let's get to the presidential race. How am I doing on... Yeah, I'm doing fine on time. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I saw another headline about this morning from the New York Post and somewhere else. Oh, CNN. Of course, CNN. But Donald Trump goes off on Nikki Haley in racially charged rant ahead of the ex-South Carolina governor's must-win New Hampshire primary. And there's a lot of people saying it is a must-win if she's going to continue. Now, the polls, well, we'll get to the polls in a moment. But why I'm confused by this, that it's racially charged, they're pointing to the fact, and they always, in the media, use the term racist dog whistle, because he mentioned her given first name. It's just confusing to me. I don't know. But Nikki Haley's full first name is Nimarata. And so you can say he did spell it wrong. Okay, but that anyway, that they're going to keep highlighting this because there's a lot in the media, I think it goes without saying at this point, that want Nikki Haley as the alternative to Donald Trump. But Trump also reposted clips from his Tuesday night speech in New Hampshire in which he warned, quote, Haley is counting on the Democrats and liberals to infiltrate our Republican Party. And he tweeted out a picture that somebody had created that had the same logo as Hillary and put Nikki Haley's face on Hillary Clinton. In another clip, he shared the 45th president chided that Haley was backed by rhinos, globalists, and demented never-Trumpers. He then said, and I would have to say, though, I don't know if they've endorsed, I think it's a good point, Haley is the establishment candidate who is loved by Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney. And why I say that's a good point, because to me, that was, and you heard me say on the program numerous times, that's how the media's reaction to Nikki Haley struck me, which was it was very reminiscent of the only way Republicans can win is with, and fill in the blank, Mitt Romney, John McCain, Jeb Bush at one point. So if you recall, though I like Nikki Haley, I thought that that was a red flag. She seems to have embraced that a little bit. That's not a knock. I mean, she's looking at a way to win the nomination, and I mean and I think DeSantis kind of proves this, you're not going to out-Trump Trump, so you go down a kind of a different path. And she said at one point, something to the extent, I'm paraphrasing, that she likes Trump, or that she liked that he was the right man at the time, I should say, but she doesn't like the chaos that comes with it. So she's offering herself as an alternative to Trump's style. That's fair. Will it be successful? And that's a question I will ask you. Will it be successful in New Hampshire? Now, I believe, and I've said this numerous times, and I mentioned it with Joe Sempolinski, that I believe the media was really hoping that she got a second place finish in Iowa, because then they could say the momentum is on her side. Then if she was to go into New Hampshire and win or come very close, you can see it like a snowball. They would keep saying she's still in it, and she could keep going. The money would keep coming in, and who knows, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, what would happen. But that Iowa blow was, and again, not to keep quoting Joe, but that was the best case scenario for the former president, because he was over 50%, and Nikki Haley came in third. Now, DeSantis, I'm not saying he's quiet. I just don't have anything in my stack of papers necessarily about him, though he did go to CNN yesterday, right? Was it yesterday? No, the day before, and did a town hall right after Iowa. It's interesting to me, and I don't have the answer for this. Maybe I missed the reasoning behind this, but it seems like, and maybe it's the only place really giving them coverage, but boy, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis attending a lot of CNN events, which I'm not really sure. I would say that's a little troubling for me. Now, they did cancel, and I don't know if that was that CNN or was that ABC? I think it was ABC. Canceled the debate because Nikki Haley dropped out of the debate, saying if Trump's not going to be there, there's no point anymore in doing the debates. But before that, the week leading up to Iowa, they had the double town halls, one with, I can't remember who went first, one Nikki Haley and then Ron DeSantis. And then later in the week, they had the debate. Now, DeSantis is back on CNN just a few days ago, and Nikki Haley is going to be on CNN tonight. So is it they're the ones giving, meaning CNN, the ones giving DeSantis and Haley an opportunity? Again, I don't have the answer for this, because I've never been, and I think many people would agree with me on this. Republicans have always been kind of questionable in their decision-making process, and this means at the RNC and elsewhere too. This is not just on individuals, where they go to outlets that really don't want to see them win, to have debates, to have town halls. Now, I know the old saying, you can't just always preach to the choir, right? You've got to get out there. And I know there's been a lot of people that say you've got to go where to enemy fire in a way, and I get that, but it gets to the point where maybe it's a little bit too frequent, and you see it numerous times in the past specifically, where the moderators themselves look to have an agenda. Mitt Romney experienced that, going back to his name. He didn't do anything about it, but it gets to the point where it seems like you're up against it. Maybe don't always go to these outlets, but that's neither here nor there. That's for their teams to make that decision. Nikki Haley is set to participate in a CNN town hall on Thursday. That's tonight, just days before a New Hampshire primary that the one-time South Carolina governor hopes will shake loose former Trump's hold on the 2024 Republican race. Now, we do have polling numbers, that suggest maybe that's not the case. Trump seeming to do better than originally thought, because a lot of people had said that Nikki Haley could win New Hampshire outright. Well, according to new polls, a Suffolk University NBC 10 Boston Globe poll pegged Trump with 50% support among likely Republican voters in New Hampshire, followed by Haley at 34% and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at 5%. What I will say about that is that would be a good showing for Nikki Haley at 34%, but not if Trump, again, gets 50% or higher, or even beats her by double digits. That doesn't show a level of momentum. But when we come back from... No, I got time. I don't know why I'm rushing things this morning. I get thinking because we have so much to get to, and I just want to get right back at it. But CNN put together the 5 things you should watch for, in case you can't make up your own mind. 5 things you should watch for during tonight's town hall with Nikki Haley. How will Haley hit Trump? That's a good question. Her line of reasoning's been so far, we don't want essentially 2 old guys running for president, and she doesn't like the chaos that Trump brings. So it'll be interesting if she goes after him, if she sees that as a way to win in New Hampshire. Then, and here's what I mentioned from that other piece, does she respond to Trump's racist attacks? I've got to say, and maybe I'm being naive, or I'm just not understanding here. I'm not sure how using someone's full first name is a racist attack, or an attack in any way. Again, I'm being naive. But in a post Tuesday on his Truth social media, Trump slammed Haley while referring to her first name, Nimarata, which he misspelled. Maybe you could say there's something nefarious there. I'm not sure. Okay, so how will she respond to these quote-unquote racist attacks? Then, setting expectations for New Hampshire. And that will be interesting, because expectations are kind of high for her. They've settled since Iowa. But, there was a time when many people were saying that she could win New Hampshire outright. So will she try to lower the bar so there's not disappointment and maybe continue on to South Carolina? Though polling in South Carolina does not show her in the lead, even though she's former governor there. But that's early, too. Because many people are saying she's got to make it to at least Super Tuesday. But some, after seeing the Iowa results, said it's all over but the shouting. It's all done, that it's Trump's nomination. I think Newt Gingrich said something to that extent, saying we've got to not accept, but everybody, Republicans, Democrats, Biden, Haley, DeSantis, the media, that Trump is a nominee, essentially. But continuing. Balancing appeals with South Carolina in mind. Yes, she has to at the town hall. But again, this is CNN being too full of themselves, if I can be honest with you, because there's not that many people watching that closely to make their decision. They're not. I would speculate there's not a lot of people tuning in tonight in New Hampshire that said, let me make my final decision. I'm waiting until I hear from Nikki Haley one last time at another town hall. So when they say balancing appeals with South Carolina in mind, are South Carolinians tuning in? They don't know enough about her as governor. So are they, at one-time governor? So are they watching it and saying this is going to be my deciding factor? I don't know. And then what about DeSantis? Will she kind of bring it to DeSantis. I'm not sure if that's necessary for Nikki Haley. I'm not really sure what DeSantis is going to do. His polling in New Hampshire, by the way, is not looking very good. He did not, as far as I'm aware, not campaign much there at all. That was kind of a knock on him, that he put all his eggs in one basket in Iowa. So some people said the writing's on the wall for DeSantis, but maybe he sticks it out. We'll wait and see. I've not heard any announcements, and maybe you have. So there we go. There's a quick overview. We have a few other things. As I mentioned, the polls do show Trump with a monster lead over Haley, leaving DeSantis in single digits. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and then talk about some of the things that Trump's doing, some of the things Biden's doing. That's when we come back, but we've got to take another short break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox will be right back.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with a Hesselson's hot tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Is your cramped and cluttered? Is it impossible to find that shirt to wear and then even harder to fit it back in there? Not anymore. Introducing Space Triangles, the clever new hanging device that fits over any hanger to save you closet space in seconds. And now may be your last chance to get them for a low price. Now you can vertically hang multiple items, guaranteeing that you'll have up to 70% more space in your closet. Watch, your closet can go from messy to marvelous in no time with ease. And just look at all that extra space. Just place space triangles on each hanger and start hanging your clothing one after another, piece by piece. Daisy chain up to 6 shirts or more. The lower you go, the more closet space that'll show. The secret is the ingenious slip-over design that secures the hangers in a perfect vertical position.
This is hands down the easiest way to get more closet space. It took me just a few minutes to completely transform my closet, and now I can go shopping again.
It snugly fits all types of hangers, from plastic to wood to metal and velvet, and works with any type of clothing, from shirts and blouses to slacks and jeans, or designer dresses and big heavy suits. Stop searching through clutter for the right outfit. Now you can build an outfit and group it together so it's easy to find. Even hang purses, belts, and more. Just slide the space triangles onto any hanger and start hanging. You'll instantly create closet space like never before. Order now to get an 18-piece set of space triangles for just $9.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get space triangles at this low price. But you must act fast. There is a strict limit of 1 closet pack per order while supplies last. Once they're gone forever. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-957-1518. That's 1-800-957-1518. Call or visit spacetriangles.com. So call 1-800-957-1518. Order now.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Akam. Thank you so much for joining us as we broadcast live from the Hesselson's studio. I did receive a comment from a viewer suggesting that New Hampshire is very easy to manipulate, and that could be to former President Trump's point that Nikki Haley, what he is saying, needs to have infiltration by Democrats and liberals to win in New Hampshire. But she has put a lot of emphasis on a New Hampshire win. By the way, I mentioned this earlier that we would bring up Elise Stefanik after talking about Congressman Nick Langworthy's op-ed. And in that op-ed, he had a letter that he led on, but that had other signatures on. Elise Stefanik's name came up, and I said she'll be coming up later. Well, this is why. According to NBC News, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, he was at a dinner, President Trump, and asked about Stefanik, Elise Stefanik, as a possible choice for vice president. He nodded approvingly. Now this, again, anonymous sources, take it with a grain of salt, but he said, according to one person at the event, that she is, and I quote, a killer. Ever since then, Trump and a growing number of allies have started to look more closely at Stefanik as a running mate, according to 8 people familiar with the matter. 8 people interviewed, including people in Trump's orbit, Stefanik fundraising bundlers, and former Trump administration officials. At the time, the 39-year-old congresswoman was at the crest of a wave of national publicity, and that's when she went after and did a great job exposing the University of Pennsylvania and Harvard dean's presidents, asking the question, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your college's rules on bullying and harassment? And eventually resulted in 2 of them resigning and brought a firestorm of criticism on the schools, and she made political capital off of it. I don't know about fundraising wise, but I mean, you saw the emails. I brought to you an op-ed that she did at the New York Post. Stefanik was on Trump's radar long before that hearing, or that meeting, might be a better word, they use hearing, because she possesses one of the key attributes he's looking for in a 2024 running mate, loyalty. Again, this is coming from NBC News. That, mixed with her ability to drive the news on key issues, may be an irresistible mix for a vice president pick. Stefanik is at the top, said Steve Bannon. The only thing I will say about that, and this is not a knock on anybody or the decision-making process or whatever, as a rule, you try to pick someone in a state that could help you win that state. Stefanik from New York. Trump, originally from New York. I don't think I'm going to burst anybody's bubbles here, but Trump and or Stefanik at the national ticket are not going to carry New York State on election night. Now, if you're taping this and I'm wrong, I will eat my words come the day after Election Day. But that's why I would think there would lead. But, you know, we all know that the former president doesn't do things in the political norm. So does that maybe kind of thinking outside the box idea play to Stefanik's favor? If you're Trump, you want someone who's loyal above all else, said a Republican campaign operative, particularly because he sees Mike Pence as having made a fatal sin. Wow. And you do have to say, I know that I think they put a lot of emphasis on Trump's feelings on loyalty, but whatever you think about that, Stefanik has been very loyal to the former president. On Wednesday, after NBC published the story, Stefanik announced she would be campaigning with Trump in New Hampshire. Interesting. Now, they're going to go after Stefanik as one time being a moderate who worked on Mitt Romney's presidential campaign. I don't know. The one problem I have with that, too, is working on a campaign is different than what your necessarily your personal beliefs are. I mean, how many of us pulled the lever for kind of a rhino Republican because it was the quote-unquote lesser of two evils? But Trump said during a lunch in the spring of 2022, she's come a long way, and now she's really, really with us. Stefanik declined to comment on whether she would be interested in being Trump's running mate. I know that Stefanik definitely has. She's been a rising star. I know that she must have some even further ambitions. What those are, I'm not sure. So I would be shocked that if he offered, she wouldn't take it. But we'll see whether or not he'll offer that position, again, having another New Yorker on the ticket. What's your thought? Would you like Elise Stefanik to be the VP pick for the former president? But we've got to take another short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're covering a lot this morning, aren't we? I'm glad that you joined us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Wow. You found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290.
The XFL in the United States Football League have announced plans to merge.
A move that ensures spring football is here to stay.
This is an iconic moment.
With excitement from fans all across the country.
Let's ball out, baby!
This will bring together two of the best spring leagues we've ever seen.
It's a win for football and for fans.
The United Football League has arrived.
There's no doubt spring just got stronger.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. Thank you to all the virtual waves this morning. I really appreciate it. You can reach out and comment at any time. Do you like the idea of Elise Stefanik as the VP nod for Trump? Do you... Well, yesterday we had a great conversation about Ramaswamy being a part of the campaign, at least. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, he warned Biden and the Democrats that this quote-unquote MAGA criticism or attacking quote-unquote MAGA will hurt Biden's chances for re-election. Now, Dimon calls himself not quite, or just a little bit of a Democrat, something like that. He says that Democrats should be more respectful of Trump's supporters. I think he has a point, because I know we talk about the basket of deplorables comment that Hillary Clinton made at one point. It kind of solidifies some people to support Trump that may not normally support him, just like the trials have done that, where people say, I don't really like Trump, but I kind of hate the deep state, or I hate people telling me what I can and cannot do. It's also not good when because let's face it, many in the media anyway, and Democrats label pretty much anybody that's not a Democrat or anybody that they deem beneath them MAGA. I wish the Democrats would think a little more carefully when they talk about MAGA, said Dimon. Biden has warned that, MAGA Republicans pose existential threat to American democracy. But he also tried to distinguish between Trump's most hardline supporters and mainstream Republicans, who Biden says make up a majority of the party. Well, Jamie Dimon said, I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign. He was at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. Dimon argued that the phrasing, using the phrase, MAGA incorrectly links Trump supporters to the former president's personality and character. Democrats are basically scapegoating them, saying that you are like him. I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values, said Dimon. And I know there was somebody who said that many years ago when people said how, with his background or whatever, how could you support him? And I remember someone saying, I thought it was a really smart comment, that it's not that you're voting for your pastor or your preacher. You're voting for someone you think can do the best to lead the country. But this is what Dimon calls himself, barely a Democrat. I knew I had heard that somewhere. But he said, take a step back. Be honest. He, meaning Trump, was kind of right about NATO, kind of right on immigration. He grew the economy quite well. Trade tax reform worked. He was right about some of China. He wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues, and that's why they voted for him. Interesting. That's Jamie Dimon. But not taking that lesson, of course, you see in the media. There's a piece by Julian Zelzer from CNN that goes on to, essentially criticize MAGA supporters. But talking about the celebrity nature of Trump and saying the worrying thing about Trump is that he's not just another celebrity. He is potentially on his way once again to the White House, where whoever sits in the Oval Office holds the keys to nuclear weapons and makes enormously consequential decisions about policies in America and the life around the world. But Joy Reid from MSNBC, not heeding Jamie Dimon's words, had some really nasty things to say. But we're going to tell you about that when we come back, because we got to take another short break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. Stay with us.
Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning in Corning, New York is a local veteran-owned and operated company with over 25 years experience. Trust the experts at Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning for all of your HVAC needs.
It's hard to stop a train.
We are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. So we're mentioning the Jamie Dimon saying, or suggesting, don't go after MAGA Republicans because it could cost Biden. MSNBC's Joy Reid said that Trump voters have, and I quote, racial anxiety and they want revenge. So she attempts to make the suggestion that one of the problems is the media never goes after the voters. Essentially, is what she was saying on her program, The Readout. Which I would argue was not the case in 2016, was not the case in 2020. That was a prominent storyline, really attacking and ridiculing Trump voters, as we're seeing now. But she said, I want to talk about the media's role in all this, because we were talking during our morning call, our therapy call, as we call it. This is the media thinking that you care about what the media calls something. But anyway, you know, the question of whether the media is always kind of pulled back when it comes to, number one, criticizing the American voter and looking at them a little more with a little more circumspection, but even candidates like Trump. So now she's kind of signaling we have to, it's not enough to go after Trump and his family or any Republican and their family. Now we've got to look at the voters. And this happened, remember, there was a lot of doxing involved in 2016 and 2020. But she said, and I go to, listen to this, and I go to the 1930s when the New York Times was doing style pieces on Adolf Hitler and saying, oh, he is going to moderate himself when he gets into office and actual powers in his hands. I feel like that is happening again because people don't want to come at the voters. But these voters are actively saying, yes, we want a dictatorship. Yes, we want him to be a dictator. And it's just not being examined. So this is an interesting line of logic, and we're not going to be able to get to it, but they don't like Trump in the media, specifically Joy Reid. She doesn't like Trump because Biden is saying that Trump would be a threat to democracy. They can then put in their minds, two and two together, that Trump is going to be a dictator, that Trump is going to have a dictatorship. Therefore, we're allowed, or it is encouraged, to go after the voters who support Trump, because then they therefore support a dictatorship. You see how they're trying to reason all of this? It is to a level of delusional, but this is it's only January 18th, folks. We're going to be dealing with a lot of this, and there will be a lot of attacks on you, the voters. People didn't want to accept it's not economic anxiety, it's racial anxiety, she continued. It's demographic panic. The reason we need Rachel Maddow to exist in the world for most people to know how many Americans were fascist and were pro-Hitler in the 30s. People wanted to believe that all of America wanted to overthrow Hitler and was disdainful of fascism, when there was a giant chunk of America that was for fascism and wanted to replicate a Hitler in Washington, D.C. So pretty willy-nilly throwing around terms like Adolf Hitler, etc., and fascism, but not terms, names, and terms, fascism. But that was Joy Reid. Kamala Harris saying, I'm scared as heck that Trump could win this, that we should all be scared. Okay. President Obama reportedly has said he thinks the Biden campaign is too complacent when it comes to Trump. This is Joy Behar from The View. And moving forward here. Now, are you scared? What would happen if Trump ever became, God forbid, president again? And what are you going to do to stop the crazies? What are you going to do to stop? Crazy means you, the voters. But stop is a kind of a scary word to use here. I'm scared as heck, said the vice president, which is why I'm traveling our country. You know, there's an old saying that there are only two ways to run for office, either without an opponent or scared. So on all of those points, yes, we should all be scared. We got to take our last break. Yes, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Was your premature baby fed a cow's milk baby formula such as Similac or Enfamil? If so, your child may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Evidence shows that cow's milk formulas increase the risk of NEC in premature babies, causing severe harm and even death. If your child was born premature and suffers from NEC, intestinal perforations, sepsis, cerebral palsy, or died as a result, you may have the right to sue for significant financial compensation. Call now for a free case review.
Chance to save up to 25% off everything and soon at Raymore & Flanigan's New Year New Style Sale. Save now on beautiful new furniture for your living room, dining room, and bedroom. And sleep better in the new year for as little as $15 a month with no deposit and no interest for 72 months. Mattresses are in stock and ready for free next day delivery and removal. Bring in the new year with new styles and great savings, up to 25% off everything. Hurry in. Raymore & Flanigan's New Year New Style Sale ends soon.
This is incredible.
Wow. This Thursday on Fox, Gordon hits the road to Spain in a brand new special.
It's so tight.
Let's do this!
You have to be kidding me.
6 cities.
So no menus, you just shout.
3 friends.
Purple Plaza! You're shouting over me.
Endless flavor.
That looks incredible. It's exactly why I brought to Spain. Bravo!
Gordon Ramsay's road trip Spanish vacation. Tonight.
We are back, frankly speaking, just wrapping things up here. Received this from a viewer. I'm scared that Biden's going to get back in there and finish off America. He's been doing more dictatorial things than Trump ever did. Charlemagne, the talk show host, who was endorsed Biden, said now that he regrets it, but is a Democrat, said that he is that the wave of working class people are upset over the migrant crisis, and this could really come back to hurt Democrats who did not realize the seriousness of this. This is scary. It is being reported by NBC News that Secretary of State Antony Blinken told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week that Israel cannot defeat Hamas and that there is no military solution. That's not the case. Hey, thank you to Sonia Ellison from Big Fox News at 10 for sending us that package. I hope that you enjoyed it. Tomorrow on the program from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Jeff Plate. So make sure you tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 for Frankly Speaking, only on Big Fox. Thanks for joining us.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bag,